So you've been to Ukraine and you found that special, beautiful Ukraine woman you've been looking for. You've probably been out on some dates now. So how do you not fuck up your relationship with your beautiful Ukraine woman? Hi, my name's Don, and I live in Nevada, and I have a beautiful Ukraine woman myself who's 20 years old, younger than myself. And today I want to share with you what I think are the 6 top reasons that relationships get screwed up once you found your Ukraine lady. And so today let's get started here. Let's talk about the number one. In my opinion, number one is never look at another woman. When you're with your Ukraine woman, you be with her. Don't be looking around. Don't be looking at all the eye candy. Because believe me, there's plenty of it out there. And we're guys. It's normal. We want to look, but don't get caught. This is the worst thing that you can do. Your woman wants to feel secure. She wants to feel safe. She wants to know that she can trust you. She wants to know that you're there for her. So the last thing you want to be doing is looking around and every skirt that walks by, because this is, to her, it just says that you're not loyal. You can't be trusted. That any woman at any time is going to take you away. You got to understand, in at least my experience, that Ukraine girls are relatively jealous. And the reasons because they have to fight for the attention of the men in their country, just because there's more women than there are men. So of course it's a big competition. So they don't want to have to feel like, you're a foreigner. This is supposed to be different. You're supposed to be different from all the things that they have heard. And they don't want to hear or feel like, hey, this is the same old. I got this every day of my life here. Why do I need it now? So number one, don't look around at other women. Keep your eyes with her. Keep your attention with her. I know my wife, when I was with her, it was constant in Ukraine. Whenever we were out, she was always reaching for my hand. She was always wanting to feel that security that, hey, and just to show, look at this is my man, he's with me. So make sure you give her 100% of your attention, because if she feels like you're not there for her in any way, shape, or form, you've got problems, and you're going to be fighting for that, save that relationship. Yeah, and you don't want that. You don't need that. I'd say number 2 is don't hide yourself. And what I mean by that, be open, be who you are. She wants to know you. She wants to know about your life. She wants to know about your friends, your family, maybe even past relationships. It's hard to say, but don't hide yourself. Just put yourself out there, and it is what it is. You can't expect her to not be open herself if you're not going to be open with her. So just remember that it's important to just tell everything about yourself, because they really do want to know you, and they are interested in you. And she's also going to be interested, like I said, friends and family. She wants to know that you're close with your family. that there's a bond with your family, because families is very important to her. So just make sure you keep things open, and she answer all her questions, and be truthful. Most of all, just be truthful. Um, and you'll see that that will go a long, long way. Um, Number 3, don't make promises you can't keep. And again, what I mean by that is the Ukrainian women love it when a man takes control, for sure. And usually if you're going to go do something, or you set up plans, by all means stay with those plans. Don't back out at the last minute. Don't say, well, honey, I don't feel like doing this. If you say something, then follow through. And it's with everything in that relationship. I mean, if you say, hey, I'm gonna take you out to a nice restaurant, follow through. If you're gonna take her shopping, follow through. If you're gonna help her out with a situation, follow through. If you're gonna anything, I mean, you get the point. It's just the fact that if you say you're gonna do something for her or with her, and if she has kids, and you're same thing, you just make sure that you follow through with your word. Because your word is golden. And last thing you want to do is her to feel like, well, he tells me one thing, but then he turns around and does something else. They don't like that, not at all. So just keep that in mind. That it's just real important to follow through with any promises that you make. Okay. 4 is don't be cheap. And I'm not saying that, okay, you got to go to the most expensive restaurants, and you've got to go on most expensive trips, and you've got to go to the most expensive stores. That's not what I mean by being cheap. It's just day to day. Okay. So you're day to day, you're with her, and you're out, and you're going to do things. You know this already. She's going to show you her country. You're going to see some different sites. She's going to want to show you maybe some important places around her city, maybe take you on some kind of tours and stuff. And there's lots of family style restaurants that are really great, delicious food, and very, very inexpensive to our standards. So just don't be commenting like, oh wow, that's expensive, or wow, how is that really this costs this much? And because that gives her the signal that you're gonna be cheap, that you're not gonna want to, when it comes to important things or things that are going to be necessary, that you're not going to want to dish out. And that's a characteristic that you do not want to show, because believe me, sooner or later finances are going to come into the picture. Okay, you guys are going to talk about money. Maybe she needs help every month. I know my wife did. I mean, she would never tell me. She would never say a word about it. And it's basically, I had to bring it up, because I could see, it's like I could put 2 and 2 together. I understood. It's like, well, you're bringing in this, your expenses are this. How do you make it? I don't understand, it is, and she wasn't making it. She'd have to borrow money from a friend, and then try to pay her back slowly. And so, I'm the one that brought up the subject, and I'm the one that said, hey, look, I want to help you. to help you every month. I want to make sure that you have enough money to live on, and that you have enough extra to do things besides just stay home. And not just for herself, but her daughter. I wanted to make sure that she could buy clothes that she needed for winter, for her and her daughter. And basically what I did is, to start, is I just doubled her salary. So if I think she was making 350 a month, working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and so, I mean, for me, that's nothing. I'd throw that away on a night at a town, no problem. So, but for her, it was everything. It was so important. It was like, showed my care. It showed my heart. It showed that I was serious about her. That I loved her. I cared about her and her daughter, and that I would do anything to help. So, like I said, this is what I mean. The factor, don't be cheap, because this is huge. It's a huge factor. Number 5, don't ever forget special days, special occasions. All right, especially her birthday, holidays, which you'll find out are gonna be different than ours. Don't forget, like, okay, like your first date, the day you first met. Just there any days that you think is just kind of an average, so day, to her, that is an important day. So anything, like well, like I said, even the first day you guys met is going to be an important. She will remember this the rest of her life, because mine does. She remembers. She remembers the date. She remembers the time. She remembers where we met. Our first date, where we went. I mean, she remembers everything. So, and that's important to her. So for me, I have to make sure I keep these written down somewhere so I don't forget. But it's anything special is, you've got International Women's Day. Remember their Christmases and their New Year and Old New Year. Everything, all these days that are that we're not familiar with. You need to become familiar with them, because they are very important. And so you do not want to forget days, especially special days and things like this. This is huge. And I think the last thing that I'm going to say that can really fuck up your relationship is texting. Now, I'm going to say this in two different ways, because there's two different situations that usually come up with this. Number one, you guys are out on the date, and your phone's constantly going off. Okay, texting, and maybe it's stuff back home, but whatever you do, ignore it. Just, you know what, you can deal with it later. If it's really, really important, and it's life or death situation, okay, that's different. You can explain that to her. But if you're constantly looking at your phone and constantly texting, she has no idea what you're doing. To her, it could be the first thing in her mind is, it's another woman, or he's got other women he's seeing here, or you don't want to put these things in her mind. Okay, you just when you're with her, be with her. Ignore that phone. Like I said, things can wait. And then the second situation that's going to come up with texting, and guys do this a lot, is that you get home and then you're constantly texting her. Okay, she, believe me, doesn't need this. She doesn't really going to appreciate it. it's going to become annoying because, listen, she has her busy schedule for the day. She doesn't have time to be texting. And texting is, so when you think about it, it's very impersonal anyway. It's not like, okay, I want to Skype with you at a certain time, and that way I can see you, I can look at you, I can see your expressions, I can see your smile, your laugh. This is what she wants. Okay, not these texts coming in all the time. Oh, I miss you. How's your day? What's going on? Believe me, this will get annoying to her very quick in a very short period of time. So when those are the reasons, not to text. And like I said, when you're around her, the first thing that's going to go through her mind, and especially if you're just now, if you're just started dating and you're just starting to feel comfortable in your relationship, and things are really going good, and you start texting in front of her all the time. Like I said, she has no idea, but the first thought in her mind is it's another woman. So phones have become a bad habit. It's just like they're constantly going off. They're with you all day long. It's like you can't be without it. But in this situation, it's better you just turn it off and deal with it later when you're by yourself. She'll very much appreciate this, believe me, and it'll make you look really good in her eyes. So anyway, these are what I consider the 6 top categories that if you do any of these, you will screw up that relationship. It will not last. And you're going to be wondering, what did I do wrong? Well, these are the things that you need to not do. Okay. If you can keep this in your mind, keep this list, think about it, just remember it, you'll be great, man. You'll carry on, you'll be successful. Pretty soon you'll probably be getting married. So just try to remember that. Let's see, I have a question. What language should I learn if I want to live in Ukraine? That's an interesting question because I see that come up a lot. For me, I learned Russian and still learning Russian, but that my wife, when I met her, she spoke, Russian language. She lived in Odessa. So, it really depends on what part of the country you're going to live in. If you're going to be on the eastern side of east part of Ukraine, they pretty much, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, eastern side of Ukraine. Okay, they pretty much speak the Russian language. Once you get over to the western part of Ukraine, it turns into more of Ukraine language. So, but Russians, I think for me, it's easier to learn than it would be to learn the Ukrainian language. My wife can speak both, but I'm not going to even try to start learning the Ukrainian language because I struggle enough with the Russian language. So, yeah. Hi from Vegas, Neo Kim. Hello. So anyway, that's what I would suggest. It would just really depend on which part of the Ukraine you planned on living in. But Russian language is recognized through the whole country, so you get along with that anywhere you lived. It's just that it's like I said, it's Ukrainian language is more prominent on the western side. So Lviv and these areas, or Poltava, these areas over here will definitely be more Ukrainian language. So anyway, that's all I have to say today. I hope you will hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to push the bell, and we will. So we got another question here. Thanks. It's good to know Russian is easier to learn. Well, it's easier, that's for sure. Yeah, it's for me anyway. I mean, I think maybe if you started with one, and uh, you'd probably say, well, Ukrainian language is easier to learn. But I started learning this about almost 10 years ago. So, and I still struggle. Believe me, I can get around just fine and do things, but it's still tough. Let's see, Stanley. Let's see. How do you juggle dates with three women, three or more women? Boy, you know what? I don't even know if I'd want to try that. I guess, if if you're man enough to do that, I congratulate you, because I really don't know how you would pull something like that off. That's hard, because you know, I don't even know how to touch that. I'm just going to be honest with you. I really don't. Hey, Robert, thank you very much. Can you recommend a website where I can meet Ukraine girls? Yes, I can. Actually, I recommend Match Guarantee. They do what they say they're going to do. They keep their promises, and the quality of their women are incredible. So that's who I would recommend for sure. Yeah, okay. I mean, if you just want to know them, which is for you. I mean, if you just want to know, I'm not sure what you mean, Stanley, by that. I mean, if you just want to know them, which is for you. Well, I mean, to know different women there versus, trying to juggle dating them, that's different. I mean, I have still friends in Ukraine that are women, but of course my wife knows them now, because I mean, we had stayed in touch after we had met, and I mean, we disagreed on both sides. It wasn't we were better just to be friends and not to pursue anything more than that. But even now, I have one lady that I've known for 10 years. That she was one of my first dates in Ukraine, and she's an absolute sweetheart. But we just we were just better to be friends, and but we still stay in communication, and my wife knows her, and everything's good. Let's see. Do Ukraine women really move to USA? Yes, they do. There's not, according to what everybody talks about, is like they're all excited to get out of their country. They all want to leave, and this is not true. What is true is that you have probably 70% plus women that do not want to leave their country. I mean, it's their country. They have lives there. They have families there. They have friends, and they're not interested in leaving. Maybe in the right circumstances, they might leave. Maybe there's a happy medium where you say, well, if you come here for X amount of time, we'll go back and live in your country. But 70% do not want to leave the country. And then that leaves maybe 30% that do want to leave, or are willing to leave. Like my wife had no plans on leaving her country. She never thought this was even be an option. But when it came up, and I said, hey, what do you think about, living with me in the United States? And she was wide open to it. So yeah, I think it just depends on the circumstances and the lady. Um, where are the most popular places these women prefer to go on dates? Um, would say, you know, it's all going to depend on the lady. Um, I mean, for my experience, they're happy just to. I mean, like we walked around the city of Odessa. We saw different things. We went to like the opera. We went to the cinemas. We would take walks in the parks. Just go to an average restaurant that were really just family style restaurants. Like one of my favorite in Odessa is Kompot. Even they bake their own breads, they bake their own cakes and desserts. Their food is just, I mean, it's excellent. And, I mean, good grief, you dine for 3 or 4 people, and it's like maybe $30 with the tip. So, I mean, it really, again, it just depends on the lady, I mean, um, but what I found is that they're just happy to show you around, show you their cities, things like this. Okay, let's see. Is it difficult for a U.S. citizen to purchase property in, say, Odessa? Having a heck of a time. Um, it is. It can be difficult. I mean, yes, as a U.S. citizen, you can have property in Ukraine, but the key things are finding an attorney you can trust and finding a realtor that you can trust. um, because I mean, it's well known that a property can be sold to several different people, and nobody knows who's the rightful owner is. So yeah, so it's crucial to find people that you can trust to handle these kind of transactions. Um, let's see, is there any chance that I can get a 35-year-old woman? I am 50 years old. I am well settled. Um, I would say you're kind of pushing the boundaries, but yes, and it's definitely possible. Like again, I say, I have a 20-year age difference with my wife. I'm 62. And she's actually 41. So okay, so there's 21 years difference. But you know what? It works. It was just meant to be. So by all means, if the right woman comes along, you're gonna know it. I'm checking the website now. Is Tinder popular in Ukraine? That I'm not sure of. I've heard of Tinder, um, um, or guys using Tinder in Ukraine, but um, from my understanding, it's kind of used for not like shady girls, and it's more popular, not for anything serious. Okay. Um, how long did it take for your wife to adjust in American culture and the people? It took her a few years. I mean, once she made established, like on Facebook, she found a Russian community group, and she joined in on that. And then with that, she was able to make friends, find events that we could go to together that were, because at the time we lived in Hawaii, and Hawaii had a really big Russian community group. So they would post all kinds of events, like the big gatherings in the parks down in Honolulu, things like this. So we would go to those, and it gave her a chance to, meet other Russian and Ukraine women, and a lot of them, of course, came from here with well, either with their families when they were little, or they came with had married uh, American man and had moved. So it gave her a chance to meet with them and communicate, and she may end up making some really good friends. So yeah, so I mean, it takes a while, but it all works out. It was it was for her. She adjusted very well, I think. Um, Hello, sir. Does Ukraine ladies dislike Asian? Likewise, Filipino. Did you meet our Filipino Ukrainian partner? I have a I have a friend from Philippines, and he's married to a Ukraine lady, and their relationship is great. So um, I don't think it's uncommon at all. Again, it's just it's who you are. What are you bringing to the table? Are you going to be somebody that she can fall in love with? I mean, that's all it's about. So it, it can work. I want a girlfriend. Okay. Does Ukraine usually believe on age gap? Yes, they do. And, they prefer to marry an older guy, but they usually try to keep a realistic age gap where 10 years is really comfortable for them, up to 10 years. They will step over the boundary to 15, but then again, you look at mine who stepped over the boundary of 21. But again, it's all about chemistry. It's about what you can bring to the table. It's all depends on the relationship. I mean, people meet all the time, and there's always big gap differences. Some of them work out fantastic, some of them don't, but it just you'll just know if it's right. So how many dollars is it okay to give a lady to live in Ukraine? Uh, I'm not. I'm not sure if are you asking like monthly for monthly support, or just a one-time thing? I'm not sure. As far as my rule of thumb is, you never give a Ukraine woman money for any circumstances unless you've met her and you've spent time with her. Because otherwise, there's just too many these scams going on out there. They want to, oh, I need money because my child's sick, or my mother, my father's sick, or there's just 1,001 excuses. So rule of thumb is don't give money to any Ukraine woman unless you have personally met her and you guys are in a relationship. Yeah, just to send money to some girl because she wants or asks for it, don't ever do it. Normally, how much will you spend average from start to finish? Wow. Well, that's an interesting question. So every time I went to Ukraine, and I did this on my own, to see my now wife and daughter, it would cost me probably what I spent to go over there was like around 5,000-6,000, and then plus the whatever income I could possibly lose from not being at work. I mean, I'm self-employed, so generally I tried to keep something coming in. But um, you know, so if you did that 10 times, right, you're at 80K. And then you've got the whole K1 visa process, and that, and then so you probably have another 5,000 into that. I'm just saying, because you're going to hire an attorney to handle that stuff for you. You're not going to want to take this process on your own. Believe me, it's a lot of work, a lot of steps, and if one little thing goes wrong, you get to start over. So um, I really, it's hard to say what kind of number it can end up costing you. But then again, you got to look at it this way: how much money are you willing to spend for a life of happiness? You put money into your education, you put to have a job. How much did that cost you, right? How much did it cost you to go to 4 years of university, to have a good job, to be able to live a nice, comfortable life? Okay, well, you got to think of that the same way about this relationship. You got to put time, you got to invest money into it, and that's about all I can tell you. Let's see. How do you know if she didn't use you for a green card? Well, that, for me, I knew in my heart that she was not about that. I mean, it wasn't even a question. Okay, so if you have a lady and that's in your mind and you feel that, then there's some signal that she may be giving you that's telling you this. But as far as my wife, I I never doubted her for a second, not a second. I mean, she showed me who she was. She showed me her love, her everything. I mean, she was just open with me about all, and I completely 1000% trusted her, and still do. So um, it happens. I know it does happen, but how do you weed that out? That's a tough one. Okay, how many times did you meet your wife before getting married? Did you take holidays together, or to other countries too? Um, no, we never went on any holidays to any other countries. I I think I went to. I think I'm trying to think. I think it was like on our fourth time I went over and spent time with her, that we talked about marriage, and then I proposed to her. I would go over. I spent 3 weeks at a time with her, so I was going over every 3 months, and then when we weren't together, we were Skyping each other like day and night. So we'd set up a time during the morning when we could spend some time, and then in the evening when we could spend some time. But it really helped our relationship grow, and we talk about our days. So it was like we were together all the time, but it was just it was over Skype. Um, Are those girls on the website looking for marriage only? I'm just looking for a girlfriend. Yeah, these girls are serious. I mean, they're looking for um, a relationship. Most of them, I'm gonna say probably 90-some%. Um, just to have a boyfriend, and especially when you don't live there, that's something they're really not going to be too much into. They can get that there. Okay, if they just want a boyfriend, I mean, they can have that there. But they're here for marriage. They're really here for serious relationships. So if all you're looking for is a girlfriend, then yeah, you're probably gonna have to figure that one out on your own. Okay, guys. Well, it looks like that's the end of the questions here. I want to thank you for joining us and for joining me today. And again, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell. And we'll have another topic next week, and we'll just see what else we could come up that's interesting that will to keep you guys. We want to help you succeed, but be informed about as much as possible before you start going over there looking for that beautiful Ukrainian lady. All right, so everybody have a great day. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you next week.